Chapter 241. You've got your head squeezed by the door? When it was almost time to get off work, Cheng Mu's gave Jian Yun an okay sign and told her that he had settled the matter of Wu Wenjing returning to work. When they met at noon, Jian Yun also told her this good news. Wu Wenjing was naturally very happy and even wanted to go and thank Ruan Mian. It was Cheng Muze who helped, not Ruan Mian. Jian Yun said as she ate. Ah, what happened? Wu Wenjing asked Jian Yun. Jian Yun summarized what happened in the morning. Wu Wenjing heard and rolled her eyes in anger. Jian Yun, why did you become hostile with President Huo for an outsider you are not familiar with? He is leading such a big company and definitely has his own principles. This matter is your fault. I also know, but Jian Yun pouted. Actually, she knew what Wu Wenjing said was reasonable, but when she thought about how he was angry at her back then, she felt uncomfortable. Don't just say that. Don't mention this matter in the future, that Ruan Mian is clearly scheming. She can be by old fox goose eye for so long. Her means are definitely not ordinary. Don't get too close to her. Wu Wenjing reminded Jian Yun a few words and then began to gossip about Jian Yun and Huo Liancheng. I told you, we are married. Jian Yun only used this sentence to reply Wu Wenjing. In any case, what she said was the truth. Whether she believed it or not was Wu Wenjing's matter. Of course, Wu Wenjing would not believe it. She would not believe that Huo Liancheng would really talk about marriage certificates with Jian Yun. Seeing that Jian Yun did not have the interest to talk about it, she could only stop. She passed a paper bag to Jian Yun. It was the American skincare products Jian Yun bought from her. Jian Yun, this is quite useful. I am also using it myself. There is a special cabinet in China now. Wu Wenjing introduced and changed the topic. Right, I am going to Yan Yan's house tonight. She needs to put on makeup at night. I have to accompany her. Jian Yun, why don't you be Yan Yan's bridesmaid? At that time, we all agreed who would marry first and the others to be bridesmaids. I said, I'm married. Jian Yun drank a mouthful of soup and said with her head buried. Jian Yun, enough, this joke is not funny at all. Wu Wenjing rolled her eyes at Jian Yun and also picked up the bowl of soup to drink. Believe it or not. Jian Yun squinted her eyes and smiled. Her sloppy appearance made Wu Wenjing even more certain that Jian Yun was joking. Sigh, I don't know if Yan Yan's wedding is a blessing or a misfortune to welcome her. Wu Wenjing suddenly sighed. Jian Yun's heart also became heavy because of this sentence. Luo Yan Yan's marriage prospects were unknown. Her own marriage with Huo Liancheng still made her worried. She did not know what would welcome her in the future. After the meal, Jian Yun bid Wu Wenjing farewell and also agreed to go to Luo Yan Yan's house tomorrow morning. She then returned to the company. When Jian Yun arrived at the office, she found Cheng Mu's leaning on a chair with his legs crossed on the table. He was watching a TV series with his arms crossed. The others were not there. Jian Yun went over to take a look and saw that Cheng Mu's was watching a popular Korean drama, The Descendant of the Sun. Cheng Mu's was enjoying it. When he saw Jian Yun coming over, he even waved at her. Sister Jian, have you seen this Korean drama before? It looks pretty good. I've seen it. Oppa is so handsome. Jian Yun held her face with both hands and watched Song Jungji act like he was infatuated. This man is just like me. He is not as handsome as me. I think Sister Chow is pretty. Cheng Mu's giggled. Jian Yun was not interested in discussing Korean dramas with Cheng Mu's. She looked at the president's office and asked Cheng Muze quietly, is he here? Cheng Muze also pretended to be mysterious and answered Jian Yun with his mouth. He is inside, but he seems to be in a bad mood. Be careful. Jian Yun did not want to go in and get into trouble when she heard that Huo Liancheng was not happy. She simply moved a chair to sit beside Cheng Mu's and watched the TV series with him. Not long after, Cheng Mu's received a call from the internal line. He pouted at Jian Yun. You'd better go in, or else I'll be in trouble again. Are you afraid of him? Jian Yun held her chin with one hand and tilted her head to look at Cheng Mu's. She asked curiously. She had always found it strange. Cheng Mu's was Huo Liancheng's cousin and also a member of the Huo family. Why did he look at Huo Liancheng like a mouse seeing a cat? Sister Jian, you can't ask that. This is no longer a question of fear. Sigh, I can't explain it clearly. From now on, you'll understand. Cheng Muze waved his hand and signaled Jian Yun to leave quickly. But I'm also afraid of him. Jian Yun said with a bitter face. He's always angry at me. His face is cold as if he is Kliss, letting out cold air. Sister Jian, if he dares to treat you like that, treat him. Cheng Mu's hooked his finger at Jian Yun. Jian Yun leaned over and heard him whisper. If he is angry at you, then you will not let him kiss you, and not let him sleep with you. See if he still dares to do it next time. Jian Yun thought that Cheng Mu's would give some brilliant idea, but she did not expect that it was actually this. She immediately blushed and rolled her eyes at him. Can you not joke around? I am serious. Cheng Muze wanted to say more, but the door to the president's office suddenly opened. Huo Liancheng was standing at the door and looking at them. He said seriously, Sister Jian, men and women are not close. Stay away from me. Jian Yun saw Cheng Mu's expression and did not need to look back to know that Huo Liancheng must have come out. Her small face fell and she got up reluctantly and walked towards Huo Liancheng. When Huo Liancheng saw Jian Yun coming over, he did not say much and turned around to go in. Jian Yun followed behind him and closed the door behind her. Huo Liancheng walked straight to the French window and lit a cigarette. He stood in front of the window and smoked. Jian Yun looked at him and sighed in her heart. No one could be so handsome, even when smoking. Jian Yun walked over and took the cigarette from his hand. She pressed the cigarette butt into the ashtray and frowned. Stop smoking. The room smells like smoke. It smells so bad. Huo Liancheng turned his head to look at Jian Yun. His eyes were still so deep. Jian Yun did not dare to look into his eyes because she was afraid that she would be bewitched by him again. But she could not just stand there like that. Her eyes rolled. She walked over and hugged Huo Liancheng's waist from behind. She said softly, I was in the wrong this morning. I should not have mentioned that. Don't be angry with me. Huo Liancheng's body shook. He did not expect Jian Yun to be so obedient. He held Jian Yun's hand that was hugging his waist. He narrowed his eyes and turned around. He looked down at Jian Yun. One of his hands even touched Jian Yun's forehead. You have a fever? Or is your brain squeezed by the door? The corner of Jian Yun's mouth twitched. It was not easy for her to be gentle, but he actually thought that her brain was broken. Moreover, his mouth was still so bad. Let go. Jian Yun wanted to withdraw her hand. Who were you with at noon? Huo Liancheng would not let go. He pulled Jian Yun close to him and touched her cheek. What? Do I need to report to you who I am with? Jian Yun was unhappy and slapped Huo Liancheng's hand away. Do you like Cheng Mu's? Huo Liancheng frowned and suddenly asked. Chapter 242, Broken by Someone. Ah? Jian Yun was confused. Why do you ask? I see that you always smile when you see him. You always look bitter when you see me. Do you hate me? Huo Liancheng frowned. His handsome face was full of gloom. Jian Yun looked into Huo Liancheng's eyes and confirmed that he was not joking. She pursed her lips and coughed dryly. She said, hate is not considered, nor is it. In the beginning I really hate you, but now I don't hate you anymore. Then why do you smile every time you see Cheng Mu's? When Huo Liancheng heard Jian Yun say that she did not hate him anymore, his brows relaxed a little. Because when he sees me, he smiles. I can't cry, can I? Jian Yun said speechlessly. Is that so? Huo Liancheng was slightly relieved. As long as she did not like Cheng Mu's, it was fine. Otherwise he would be depressed to death. Any more questions? If not, I'll go out. Jian Yun suddenly felt that Huo Liancheng's jealous look was very interesting. She wanted to go out and find a place to smile. Did you forget that you did not do anything? Huo Liancheng asked. What is it? Jian Yun had just finished asking when she saw Huo Liancheng's eyes suddenly deepen. He did not wait for her to react and suddenly kissed her. Hey, this is the office. People will find out. Jian Yun quickly dodged. Who dares to come in my office? Huo Liancheng anxiously turned Jian Yun's face and held her lips. Jian Yun could not escape and could only accept her fate. She hugged Huo Liancheng's neck and let him do whatever he wanted. However, just as the two of them were flirting, they suddenly heard the door sound. Jian Yun looked out of the corner of her eye and saw Zhang Xiaolin standing awkwardly at the door. Her face was red and she did not know what to do. Jian Yun cried out and quickly went to push Huo Liancheng. At this time, Huo Liancheng also noticed someone breaking in. President Huo, I knocked on the door. Zhang Xiaolin was so embarrassed that she wanted to find a hole to hide in. Her luck was too good. She actually ran into the CEO and the little secretary having a kiss. If she did not explain clearly, she would probably have gone back and forth like Wang Xiaojian. But she really needed this high-paid job. She needed to perform well in front of Huo Liancheng and jump onto a bigger platform. I'll go out first. Jian Yun was even more embarrassed than Zhang Xiaolin. She tidied her clothes and lowered her head with a red face. She passed by Zhang Xiaolin and ran out. She closed the door casually. President Huo, Zhang Xiaolin still wanted to explain. What is it? Huo Liancheng had returned to his usual cold demeanor and looked like he was doing business. I need your signature. Huo Liancheng said. Zhang Xiaolin handed over a folder and tried hard to look more natural. Huo Liancheng looked at it and signed it. He handed it back to Zhang Xiaolin. Zhang Xiaolin turned around and was about to leave when she suddenly heard Huo Liancheng whispering behind her. What happened just now? Zhang Xiaolin quickly said, President Huo, don't worry. I can tell you what happened and what I can't tell you. I know. Huo Liancheng did not say anything. Zhang Xiaolin tactfully went out the door. When Jian Yun came out of the tea room, she happened to bump into Zhang Xiaolin. She could not help feeling a little embarrassed. Director Zhang. Zhang Xiaolin, who had always been serious, smiled. If you don't mind, just call me Sister Zhang. Jian Yun smiled and complied. Sister Zhang? What happened just now? Jian Yun bit her lips and wanted to say something to Zhang Xiaolin so that she would not spread it. But before Jian Yun could finish, Zhang Xiaolin interrupted her. Jian Yun, it is normal for men to love women. You and President Huo are not married, so it is not bad to be together. Jian Yun did not expect Zhang Xiaolin to say this and instead looked up at her in surprise. In Jian Yun's impression, Zhang Xiaolin was the Ming's Miedui Shitai. She was known for being strict. Her performance was also the highest every year, and she worked very hard. Jian Yun thought that Zhang Xiaolin must be an old-fashioned woman because anyone who saw her with Huo Liancheng would definitely guess, and it was very likely that she was trying to trick her. She did not expect Zhang Xiaolin to be so open-minded. Actually, I already knew about your relationship. I met you guys shopping together at the supermarket. Zhang Xiaolin smiled. Being able to buy groceries together meant that Jian Yun and Huo Liancheng's relationship was already very close. They were so close that they cooked together. Moreover, she saw that Huo Liancheng was very protective of Jian Yun at that time, so she was very accurate with people. Huo Liancheng cared about Jian Yun very much. His gaze could not be faked. So when everyone in Ming's was gossiping about Jian Yun, only Zhang Xiaolin smiled faintly. She was waiting to see those people get slapped in the face. Jian Yun smiled awkwardly. She thought that her relationship with Huo Liancheng was concealed very well. She did not expect that so many people could see it. Sigh. How could she continue to live like this? All right, don't worry. I won't tell anyone about what happened today, but you have to be careful. There are many people with bad mouths in this world. You can't see others stronger than you, so when you need to be strong, you need to be strong. If you are stronger than them, they won't dare to talk about you anymore. Zhang Xiaolin patted Jian Yun's shoulder and smiled gently. Thank you, Sister Zhang. Jian Yun could tell that Zhang Xiaolin really did come from the bottom of her heart. She smiled from the bottom of her heart and left the tea room with the cup. When Zhang Xiaolin poured out the hot water, she did not take a few steps and found Chen Zige standing at the corner. She was a little stunned and raised her eyebrows. You heard it? Chen Zige nodded. I did not mean to eavesdrop. It's good that you heard it and stopped thinking about it. Jian Yun, this girl is not bad, but you are too indecisive. You attacked too late. Zhang Xiaolin pushed her glasses and shook her head. Chen Zige could only sigh. Yes, it was too late. After the afternoon work was done, Cheng Mu's asked Jian Yun to go down to deliver the documents before getting off work. When Jian Yun came back, she was carrying a large bouquet of pink roses. Yo, Sister Jian. There are admirers sending you flowers again. Cheng Mu's whistled and teased. Shh. Jian Yun quickly gestured for silence. She looked at the large bouquet of flowers and felt a little distressed. She had just gone down to deliver the documents and did not expect that someone would confess to her. She was thin-skinned and rejected the confession. However, she was too embarrassed to throw the flowers away on the spot and could only bring them back. But the problem was, how should she deal with it when she brought it back? She definitely could not bring it back home. As a result, Huo Liancheng was allergic to pollen. Secondly, she knew that he wouldn't allow her to bring the flowers that other men gave her back. It's for you. Jian Yun thought about it and could only pass the flowers to Chen Mu's and let him take care of them. I don't want it. Chen Muzi waved his hand and refused to accept it. Roses represent love. If I accept the roses you gave me, I will definitely be beaten to death. Then throw them away for me. Jian Yun could only change her words. As she spoke, she gave the flowers to Chen Mu's. You can have this, Chen Muze said with a smile. He reached out to receive the flowers. Chapter 243, Cherish What You Now Have. At this time, it was time to get off work. Zhang Xiaolin, Chen Zige, and the other two walked over. When they saw the large bouquet of roses on Jian Yun's table, they heard what Chen Mu's had just said and began to tease him. It's such a pity to throw away such a beautiful flower. Jian Yun, if you don't want it, just give it to me. I'll bring it home and insert it. Zhang Xiaolin smiled. That's good, give it to Sister Zhang. Jian Yun withdrew her hand and turned to hand the bouquet of flowers to Zhang Xiaolin. She also felt that it was a pity to throw away such a beautiful flower. Then thank you. Zhang Xiaolin took the flowers and did not delay as she walked towards the elevator. Chen Zige and Zhang Fan followed behind her. They were very close to Huo Liancheng and did not dare to speak. Especially when Huo Liancheng heard Wang Xiaojian's nonsense the day before and sent him to the marketing department to do business, it made them feel even more frightened. They deeply felt that saying too much was wrong. When they passed by Jian Yun, Chen Zige looked at her. Jian Yun was also looking at him. She saw that there was a trace of complexity in his eyes. Jian Yun did not think too much and just smiled at him. Jian Yun, aren't you leaving? Zhang Fan politely asked. I still have something to do. I will leave later. Jian Yun smiled. When only Jian Yun and Cheng Mu's were left in the office, Cheng Muze held a cigarette in his mouth. He narrowed his eyes and pouted at the elevator. That kid surnamed Chen is not bad. You like him? Jian Yun looked up as she cleaned up her desk. Do you want me to help you get a line? Sister Jian, you are bad. Cheng Mu's eyes twitched. He raised his orchid finger and pointed it at Jian Yun. I have goosebumps. Jian Yun shivered. She picked up her bag and looked at the CEO's office. Why wasn't Huo Liancheng out yet? I think he is waiting for you to go in and invite him. Hurry up. I'm leaving now. Cheng Mu's picked up his jacket and phone and walked towards the elevator. Jian Yun was about to push the door of Huo Liancheng's office when she saw the door was opened from the inside. Huo Liancheng had put on his jacket and was standing there. He seemed to be about to come out. You're the only one left? Huo Liancheng looked up and did not see Cheng Mu's. Jian Yun bared her teeth. Yes. Do you have anything to do tonight? I can go back by myself. Are you in such a hurry to leave me and go on a date with the man who gave you flowers? Huo Liancheng said expressionlessly. How do you know? Someone gave me flowers? Jian Yun was surprised. Didn't he stay in the office the whole time and not come out? Could it be that he installed surveillance on her? Huo Liancheng glanced at Jian Yun and did not explain. He pulled her away. Where to? Jian Yun asked. Go home, Huo Liancheng said in a deep voice. Didn't you say you were going to swim yesterday? Why aren't you swimming anymore? After entering the elevator, the atmosphere was too silent. Jian Yun did not have anything to say. I'm not in the mood. Huo Liancheng narrowed his eyes and stood there. He clasped his hands and said coldly, Are you going tonight? Jian Yun asked again. Not interested, Huo Liancheng answered. Then what are you interested in? Jian Yun's mouth twitched. Why did she think Huo Liancheng was sick again? It was still the snake disease. Sleep with you. Huo Liancheng's face did not turn red, but his heart did not beat fast. Jian Yun could not answer him, so she pretended not to hear him. Huo Liancheng narrowed his eyes and looked at Jian Yun's face behind him from the elevator mirror. She had her head lowered, her hair hanging by her cheek, and her expression could not be seen. However, the part of her snow-white neck that was dyed red betrayed her current mood. Huo Liancheng smiled slightly. When they arrived at the underground parking lot, Jian Yun did not speak to Huo Liancheng until they got into the car. Where are we going? Jian Yun asked. It's not the way home. Halfway through the car, Jian Yun suddenly realized that the route was wrong. Go to Qingyuan. Didn't you want to swim? There's a swimming pool in the villa. Huo Liancheng said. When did I say I wanted to swim? Jian Yun pouted and said unhappily, I don't know how to swim at all. Then learn. Huo Liancheng said. My period is coming, and I'm still so cold. How can I learn how to swim? Jian Yun felt that Huo Liancheng must have done it on purpose. When she saw that Huo Liancheng was still walking towards Qingyuan, she hurriedly said, Let's go next time, okay? Yanyan is getting married tomorrow, and I will be there early in the morning. That roommate of yours, Luo Yanyan? Huo Liancheng asked with a frown. Yes. Jian Yun nodded and nagged. Originally we agreed to be her bridesmaid, but now we can't do it. We can't even be late for her wedding. Huo Liancheng looked at Jian Yun and did not say anything, but at the intersection in front, he still turned the car around and drove back home. Are you disappointed that you can't be a bridesmaid? In silence, Huo Liancheng asked. When we graduated from university, we said who would get married first. The other 3 will be bridesmaids and will witness the wedding together. Now that one of them can't come back from Australia, I am not single. Wu Wenjing is the only one left. Yan Yan must be very disappointed. Jian Yun held her chin and said with a sad face. When they arrived home, Huo Liancheng went into the study room. Jian Yun cooked. The atmosphere was like living at home. After they finished eating, they washed up and Jian Yun nestled in her room and watched a video with Wu Wenjing and Luo Yanyan. Luo Yanyan's house was far away. If they went to pick up the bride, the man's side would have to leave in the middle of the night. When the auspicious time came, it was almost 11 o'clock when they went back to Qinghu. It was not convenient, so the 2 families discussed getting married in the hotel room. However, before they could say anything, Luo Yanyan left. Wu Wenjing also hung up the video call and sent a message to Jian Yun. Yan Yan's mother had a quarrel again. Jian Yun asked, What are you arguing about? She is getting married tomorrow. Wu Wenjing said, It's not about the salary card. Yan Yan means to take it over first and show it to the other side before giving it to her mother. Her mother said that it will take at most half a year to return the house loan and return it to her after half a year. But Yan Yan's mother is worried and thinks that Yan Yan is just playing tricks. She will not give it to her after taking the pay card. That's why she said she will not give her anything. I look like I am angry. How can this be? Yan Yan's mother is too much. Yeah, if you want to take it, just take it. Don't say it out loud. It was fine if Qindong's mother did not know about it. Right now, the other side was just keeping an eye on this matter. Moreover, I feel that even if Yan Yan takes back her wage card this time, after marriage, the Qindong family will look down on Yan Yan's family. Jian Yun, sigh, my heart aches for Yan Yan. How can there be such a family? Wu Wenjing. Who does it say? Sa, to be honest, Jian Yun, President Huo is really good to you. No matter what his goal is, you should cherish what you have now. First of all, we still need to pack things here. Jian Yun, come over early tomorrow and go straight to Yan Yan's new room. Jian Yun, go to Yan Yan's new room. Jian Yun said, Okay, I know. Putting away her phone, Jian Yun laid on the bed and thought of herself. In fact, she also knew that if she did not meet Huo Liancheng, with her family situation, she might not even be as good as Luo Yanyan. Her mother was seriously ill, and her father did not care about them. Normal men would not dare to take over, because once they married her, it meant that they had to shoulder the burden of her family. A mother's medical expenses alone wasn't something ordinary people could afford. Therefore, she did not want to fall in love before this, and the blind date was just a matter of dealing with it. Thinking of this, Huo Liancheng's face suddenly appeared in front of Jian Yun's eyes. Chapter 244. No entry. Until now, Jian Yun still didn't dare to believe that all her suffering had ended because of Huo Liancheng's appearance. Putting aside the words he had scolded her earlier, and the occasional eccentricity, he was really good to her. If it weren't for him, she would still be struggling for her mother's medical bills. Maybe she's really going to do all those dirty things for money. So, should she accept him? Jian Yun buried her face under the blanket and felt her face was a little hot. She was too touched by Luo Yanyan's matter, and because of Wu Wenjing's words, she suddenly felt that her current life was not easy. She really should cherish it. However, as soon as she thought about whether she should accept Huo Liancheng's idea, a wave of regret surged in Jian Yun's heart. Heavens, how could she think like this? Because she liked the comfortable life she currently had, she decided to accept him. In this way, what was the difference between her and those women who paid for money? And it wasn't fair to him either. No, I can't think about it anymore. Jian Yun fiercely pounded the bed twice and got up to wipe her hair. She covered her face and jumped off the bed. She opened the mirror in the wardrobe and looked at herself in the mirror. Her face was so red that blood was about to drip out. Her eyes were watery, and she wanted to say it but was embarrassed. She was embarrassed to see it herself. Go wash your face. Jian Yun put on her slippers and walked to the door. As soon as she opened the door, she saw Huo Liancheng standing at the door. His hand was also on the door handle. Clearly, he was going to come in. When Huo Liancheng saw Jian Yun's appearance, his sword-like brows could not help but raise. Did you have a serious video with someone else? Ah, what do you mean? Jian Yun lowered her head and was rushing to the washroom. When she heard this, she could not help but turn her head and look at Huo Liancheng in confusion. Why else would your face be so red, like spring? Huo Liancheng crossed his arms and leaned against the door. He squinted his eyes and said, You are the one who is in heat. Jian Yun was so angry that she pouted. She could not be bothered to talk to Huo Liancheng. She turned her head and ran away. Huo Liancheng saw Jian Yun enter the bathroom. He looked back and saw that Jian Yun's phone was still on the bed. He walked over and picked it up. He skillfully unlocked the password and thought for a while. He opened WeChat and started reading. When Jian Yun came out of the bathroom, she saw Huo Liancheng sitting on the sofa in the living room watching TV. There was news on the TV. It was Master Zhong Tan's financial statement. She took a look and went back to her room. Jian Yun did not notice that her phone had been seen. She looked at the time. It was almost 10 o'clock, so she set the alarm and went to bed early. In the living room, Huo Liancheng's eyes were on the TV. In his mind, Jian Yun's WeChat conversation appeared. This girl finally began to take his feelings for her seriously. I hope she will not disappoint him. On Saturday morning, Jian Yun woke up. She did not disturb Huo Liancheng. Instead, she quietly washed up, changed her clothes, and went out. She called Old Wang yesterday and asked him to come over early to see her. So when Jian Yun went out at 7, Old Wang was already waiting downstairs. Jian Yun told Old Wang the address of Luo Yanyan's new room. Old Wang started the car and drove out. Jian Yun opened WeChat and found that Wu Wenjing had sent her a few short videos. They were all done with makeup. Luo Yanyan, who was wearing the bride's wedding dress, and Wu Wenjing's selfies. Jian Yun chatted with Wu Wenjing and Luo Yanyan along the way. It was only when Wu Wenjing said that the bride was here and she was going to ask for red packets that the chat and selfie pictures stopped for a while. Luo Yanyan's new house was in another area and was in the opposite direction of Huo Liancheng's house. It was a little far away, and Jian Yun sat in the car and watched Wu Wenjing send some small videos and photos from time to time. She did not find it boring, but Wu Wenjing suddenly sent her a message which made Jian Yun's heart tighten again. Qindong's mother is angry and the atmosphere is very awkward. Is it because of the salary card? Yeah, sigh. Yanyan's face is very ugly. I will go and comfort her. You are almost there, right? Soon, at most 10 minutes. Wu Wenjing said, Let's talk about it when we arrive. Putting away her phone, Jian Yun's heart was still in her chest. She could not rest assured no matter what. She knew Luo Yanyan's character very well. The first day of the wedding, there had been unhappiness. This was definitely a thorn in her heart. Pursuing the perfect female seat, she would remember it for the rest of her life. 15 minutes later, Jian Yun entered Luo Yanyan and Qindong's house. This was a residential area built by Qindong's father's unit. There were only a few buildings, and it was not big. The house was very new, but the Luo Yanyan's house was very simple, but it was covered with the word wedding. It looked very happy. The door to the house was open, and there were not many people in the house. Jian Yun knocked on the door and went in. When those people saw a beautiful girl enter, they all stood up in surprise. Beauty, are you Yan Yan classmate? A man around 30 years old was the first to welcome her. When he heard Jian Yun say yes, he immediately very attentively led Jian Yun to knock on the door of the new house. My name is Li Fu. Beauty, what's your name? Another man came over to welcome her. Jian Yun smiled and did not say anything. She was not here for a blind date, so why would she tell these people her name? At this moment, Wu Wenjing heard a sound and opened the door. When she saw Jian Yun, she quickly came over and pulled Jian Yun in. Those few men also wanted to go in, but Wu Wenjing pushed them out and the door closed in front of them. In the new room, Luo Yanyan was sitting on the bed with a big red bedsheet. She was wearing a white wedding dress. Her hair was hot and half-combed. It was fixed on her head with a small crown. Half of her hair was hanging down and resting on her shoulder. Her bride's makeup was very clean. It made her face look as cute as a porcelain doll. The white wedding dress was spread at the end of the bed, she looked holy and beautiful. Yanyan, you are so beautiful today. Jian Yun walked over and hugged Luo Yanyan, sincerely praising. Luo Yanyan saw Jian Yun. She, who had been expressionless the whole time, was grinning at this moment. It was just that this smile was very forced. There were still tears in her eyes. Yanyan, we agreed not to cry today. Otherwise, it would not be good to wear makeup. It is also not auspicious. Wu Wenjing immediately rushed over and took out a tissue to pass to Luo Yanyan. Yanyan, are you not happy? Jian Yun took out a red packet from her bag and passed it to Luo Yanyan. She held her hand and asked with heartache. Luo Yanyan lowered her head. Tears pattered down. Sigh, Yanyan, you can't cry, you can't cry. Wu Wenjing anxiously stomped her feet. What exactly is going on? Jian Yun was also anxious. It's not that kind of stupid thing. Sigh, you say that poor husband and wife are really sad about all kinds of things. Isn't it just a salary card? They are fighting over it. Yanyan does not have any income other than a salary card. Speaking of which, the income from the salary card was only a portion. Yanyan still had the fees and other income from the school. Qingdong's mother was too calculative. She welcomed the bride and blocked the door. She wanted to see the salary card before letting Yanyan in. Wu Wenjing said angrily. Ah, Jian Yun was shocked. Chapter 245, Familial Incidents with Dog's Blood. The more Wu Wenjing spoke, the angrier she got. Luo Yanyan kept her head down in silence and did not say anything. It was just that she kept sobbing. Qingdong's mother doing this is too much. If it was me, I would definitely turn around and leave. This marriage is not going to be married. The more Jian Yun heard, the angrier she became. She looked at Luo Yanyan's appearance and felt her heart ache. Yanyan did this. First, she threw out the salary card to Qingdong's mother to see. Then she said that this marriage is not going to be married. She turned around and left. At that time, Qingdong's mother was blocking the door, and many relatives and friends were standing outside. Wu Wenjing looked at Luo Yanyan and could not help but sigh. When Jian Yun heard this, she could not help but raise her eyebrows. She was not surprised that Luo Yanyan would do this. Luo Yanyan had always been soft on the outside and tough on the inside. She looked weak and did not have any opinions, but if she really got angry, it was not something ordinary people could bear. Then, how did Qingdong recover? Jian Yun asked again. Luo Yanyan would be here, which meant that she did not leave afterwards. Then Qingdong knelt down. Wu Wenjing spread her hands. He hugged Yan Yan's legs and did not let her go. Sigh, you do not know that many people were there. Qingdong's mother did that in front of everyone and wanted to beat Yan Yan up. She probably wanted Yan Yan to beg her. She did not expect her own son to be so spineless. The old woman's face turned black and she turned her head and walked in. Jian Yun was speechless. Hearing such a melodramatic matter, she really felt that the plot of those dramas were weak. Yan Yan, what do you think? In silence, Jian Yun asked Luo Yanyan. Luo Yanyan looked up. Her makeup was blurred and her eyes were dark. She looked very funny. If it was normal, Jian Yun and Wu Wenjing would definitely tease Luo Yanyan, but now they could not laugh because Luo Yanyan's expression was very sad. This kind of emotion was contagious. What else can we do? Luo Yanyan smiled bitterly. My mother took his family's gift money. Originally, she had agreed to marry her along with my dowry, but she insisted that owner Qin deliberately found trouble and made her look unhappy, so this gift money should be placed at her place first. She will give it to me when she's in a good mood. Your mom is really... Wu Wenjing was so angry that her face was trembling. She pulled her hair and screamed. I really want to curse. This does not make it clear that they do not want to give money and want to swallow this money? Yanyan, how much is the gift money? Jian Yun frowned and asked. She also felt that Luo Yanyan's mother had gone too far and did not let go of the money. She did not care if her daughter could not raise her head in her mother-in-law's house. No wonder Qingdong's mother was like that. 60,000. Luo Yanyan said in a low voice. It's not much. Qinghu's wedding gift money has gone up to 1 or 200,000. Qingdongjia only gave 60,000? Wu Wenjing curled her lips. Because when we were talking about the wedding gift, Boss Qin originally wanted my family to give out a car. My mother told them that she had trained me for so many years, and that it was very hard for her. She said that I spent a lot of money when I went to college and studied, so she would not give me anything. In the end, we couldn't make a deal and almost broke down. Qingdong found someone to borrow the 60,000 yuan later. Luo Yanyan said with a blank expression, as if she was talking about someone else's matter. When Jian Yun heard these words, she really did not know what to say. Did she scold Luo Yanyan for not having her own opinions? But what was wrong with her? She only had a pair of parents who valued boys over girls, who treated their daughters as ATMs and even used them as money-making tools and flaunting tools. In this matter, Luo Yanyan had been miserably harmed by her parents from the beginning. Jian Yun remembered Wu Wenjing secretly telling her that when she and Qingdong first met, her brother owed a large sum of money outside. It was Qingdong who helped to pay it back. He took her short hands and ate her soft lips. Even if Luo Yan did not have any feelings for Qingdong, she could not reject him anymore. Especially under the brainwashing of her parents and family, she, who had always been soft-hearted, finally gave in. Qingdong did treat her well. He listened to everything and cared for her in every way. Everyone said that he was a good man. However, it was true that a good man was also a super mother treasure. Qingdong listened to Luo Yanyan's words and also listened to his mother's words. Before they even passed the door, Luo Yanyan and Mrs. Qin were already very unhappy because of some trivial matters. In addition, Qingdong was conspiring two things and would not turn the tables. As a result, the relationship between Luo Yanyan and Mrs. Qin became more and more tense until today's farce happened. Then what do you do now? Jian Yun asked. Qingdong and his mother have gone to discuss. Sigh, according to what I said, Yanyan, you have only just passed the door and such a thing has already happened. Why don't you be ruthless and divorce? We will think of a way to return the money we owe Boss Qin. Otherwise, I am worried that you will not have a good life in the future. Wu Wenjing sighed. And the matter of your salary card. Your mother is too much. How long can you fool this fake card for? If they find out, there will be another big fight. Furthermore, your mother-in-law is not easy to deal with. She can actually do something that doesn't let you in. Today you made her so embarrassed. She will definitely not let you go. Jian Yun, do you think so too? Luo Yanyan looked at Jian Yun with teary eyes. Sigh, I know it is not good to advise you like this, but you also have to think about the future. Whether Qingdong can be relied on or not, marriage is a lifetime thing after all. Jian Yun said in a conflicted manner. She felt that her and Wu Wenjing's three views were not right. Luo Yanyan's first day of marriage, their two best friends actually persuaded her to divorce here. If these words were to spread, they would definitely be scolded to death. Yanyan, think about it carefully, Wu Wenjing advised. But, Luo Yanyan lowered her eyes and was silent for a while before she suddenly said in a low voice, I am pregnant. Jian Yun and Wu Wenjing were instantly petrified on the spot. The two of them looked at each other and took a long time to catch their breath. It was still Jian Yun who asked, How long has it been? It's almost 40 days, Luo Yanyan said. 40 days? Then you two just met. Wu Wenjing facepalmed with a face of collapse. That night, I called him. His wife answered. Then I drank. Luo Yanyan suddenly smiled bitterly. I did not expect to get pregnant at once. Jian Yun and Wu Wenjing naturally knew that he was the ex-boyfriend of Luo Yanyan when she was in college. That poor boy who was despised by her mother for being poor at home and went back to his hometown to get into a civil servant. He also married the daughter of the leader's family. Yanyan, do you want this child? Jian Yun's heart was extremely uncomfortable. I don't know either. I hate myself. I hate him. I hate his family. I hate my parents. But this is a small life. Luo Yanyan put her hand on her lower abdomen and shook her head. Her smile was bitter. Sometimes I feel that I am really tired of living. Yanyan, since things have come to this, then don't think about it anymore. Let's take it step by step. Although these words should not be said, the current world is not the same as before. Divorce isn't a big deal. Let's see Qingdong's performance. If he is worth it, you must insist. After all, marriage is different from love. Marriage is to find a man who can support you and protect you from the wind and rain. If he isn't worth it, then don't hesitate. Jian Yun held Luo Yanyan's hand and said softly,